Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer, where we break down the big ideas. So today we're going to tackle a question that, let's be honest, every single one of us faces. How do you deal with life when it really turns up the heat?
Okay, so let's just start with a really simple universal truth. We all face challenges, right? We all have those moments of hardship, those times where it feels like we're in boiling water. Seriously, no one gets a free pass on this stuff. Life is going to test you, it's going to push you, and yeah, sometimes it's going to feel like it's trying to break you.
But here's the thing. What really defines us isn't the challenge itself. It's how we react to it. See, it's not about trying to avoid the boiling water, because you can't. It's about what you choose to become once you're in it.
All right, so let's dive into this. I've got a simple little story for you that perfectly illustrates three totally different ways to respond to the exact same adversity. You can think of it as the boiling water test.
So picture this. You take a potato, an egg, and some coffee beans, and you drop all three into separate pots of boiling water. The potato, it goes in all hard and tough, but that same heat turns it soft, weak. Then you've got the egg. It starts out so fragile, right? Thin shell, liquidy inside. But that same boiling water makes it hard, resilient. And then there's the coffee. The coffee does something completely different. It doesn't just change itself, it actually transforms the water, creating something totally new and amazing.
So that's the big question, isn't it? Why do so many of us end up like the potato? We go into a challenge feeling strong, and we come out all soft and weakened. What is it that makes us so vulnerable to the heat?
Well, it turns out the answer lies in where we put the source of our happiness. Check out this incredible story of a 90-year-old woman moving into a nursing home. Someone's describing her tiny little room to her, and before she's even seen it, she says, "Oh, I love it." Her joy, you see, it had nothing to do with the furniture. It was all about how she chose to arrange her mind.
And this really lays out the two paths so clearly. On one hand, you have the potatoes path. This is where our happiness is super fragile, because it depends on all these external things we just can't control. But the other path, the path to strength, the path of the egg or the coffee, that's all about finding that power inside ourselves. It's about making a decision to be happy.
This idea, wow, it's so powerfully illustrated in this story of another woman. She lost both her husband and her son. She was right on the edge of just giving up. But instead of letting that immense grief just swallow her whole, she made a conscious choice. She decided, okay, I'm going to give life one more chance. And she started living just one day at a time, finding joy in the smallest things, like watching the sunrise. So, making that internal choice, that's clearly the key. But let's be real, it's not always easy, is it? So what is it that stops us? Well, a lot of the time, it's because we fall into this trap. The trap of a single, really powerful and, pretty selfish word.
And that word is I. As the speaker Gara Gopal Das explains it, when our whole world revolves around I, our life becomes this structure built on impossibly high expectations. Everything gets filtered through what I want, what I need, what I desire. Think about it. When your inner monologue is just this constant loop of, well, I should be treated this way, or I should be loved like this, you're basically just setting yourself up for constant frustration. The world just doesn't exist to follow our personal script. And when we expect it to, every little thing that goes wrong can feel like a massive personal attack. So here's the crucial takeaway, the big shift, moving our focus from getting to giving. That's the key to escaping this whole trap. Think about it. When you want to be served, you're totally dependent on someone else. But when you want to serve, who can stop you? When you want to give love, who's going to stop you from doing that? That journey from I to you, that's the real journey away from frustration. Okay, so we get it. We know the problem is our internal state. It's this trap of I. So the next logical question is, how do we actively choose to be the egg or the coffee? How do we actually build that inner strength? Well, first things first, we have to accept a fundamental truth. Being negative, complaining, getting angry, that stuff just happens automatically. It's easy. But happiness, peace, love, those are active decisions. You actually have to choose them every single day. And what this really means is taking ownership of your own well-being. Look, somebody else's actions might have caused that initial pain. You are not responsible for what they did, but you are responsible for how you carry that pain forward. Your happiness, right now, in this moment, that's on you. And the Yoga Institute offers this really practical tool for this, a little 3-step process. First, recaps are not allowed. Just stop it. Stop replaying that bad experience over and over in your head. Second, reassure yourself. One negative event does not define your entire future. It doesn't mean everything will be bad. You gotta let it go. And third, reconnect with happiness. Go do those small things that bring you joy. Read a book, take a walk, whatever it is that reminds you of who you were before you got hurt.
All right, let's bring this all together in our final section. Let's see how all of this builds towards not just, surviving or enduring, but actively transforming our circumstances. So, how do we become the coffee?
So we've seen we have to make that internal choice. We've seen we have to escape that trap of I. Well, the final piece of the puzzle that really ties it all together comes from Buddhist practice, and it's all about building the foundation for that change. And that foundation is self-love. You simply cannot change the water around you if you're not first kind to yourself.
And here are the 4 key ingredients for that self-love. First, stop believing in those negative labels you put on yourself. A mistake is just a thought pattern. It's not who you are. Second, accept that mistakes are simply proof that you are trying. That's a good thing. Third, stop criticizing yourself and others so harshly. All it does is create these crazy, unrealistic standards that just lead to self-hatred. And finally, you have to believe that your imperfection is beautiful. It's what allows you to grow.
And this quote, man, this really gets to the heart of it all, doesn't it? Your mistakes, your past, they will never define your character unless you let them. You have the power, right now, in this moment, to define yourself by your strength, not by your stumbles.
So, here we are, right back where we started, with a question for you to take away. The water is boiling. The heat is coming. That's inevitable. The real question is, what will you choose to be? Will you be the potato, softened into weakness? The egg, hardened into strength? Or will you be the coffee? Will you be the one who completely transforms the very situation that was supposed to break you? The choice, as always, is yours.